thank you very much for joining me again today. As you can see, I'm back in the attic just for a few days, so we have got the different table again. Today's reading is going to be your week ahead, back by popular demand. One person asked for it, and I think it's quite nice, to be honest, because if you're not in a relationship, it's nice not to have a relationship reading, and so there's a bit of something for everyone. You have got three powers. You've got the Viking, you've got the Beetle, I think it's the Beetle, and you've got Swedish Horse. If you'd like to take a choice, then we'll get going. Okay, pile number one. I don't know which area of your life this may actually pertain to, but you have got a feeling here of something hidden, something that you feel it's time to reveal it possibly. There's something that you keep to yourself. It may be like some inner superpower. It may be something that it makes me think you've got a secret. It makes me think you've got a secret or that you're holding back. And then your final card here is the mask. It's like it needs to be revealed. This is quite a straightforward spread, really, because at the beginning here you've got the moon, which is things that are unclear, things that are possibly unsaid, things that are in some way quite misty, or you're unable to grasp them or hold them. You know, conversations that have been said and things aren't picked up, and these are like conversations between my family where we don't actually say anything. It's like, you know, when you talk to somebody on the phone and things get misinterpreted, it just feels like that. But there's a feeling here that you're keeping something to yourself, something that you may want to reveal, because your second card is the inner strength with the little cat with the lion behind it. So your problem is, it makes me feel like you're holding something back that you feel it's time to let go. It's like you need to express yourself. I was going to say give somebody a piece of your mind, to be honest, because this is what it feels like here. And it is time to speak your truth, I think, here, because if this is the resolution with the masks here being revealed, and this cat is like two cats in one, and then there's like one cat coming out at the end, which is probably... it just makes me feel like you're holding something back. You're holding something inside yourself that needs to be revealed. It feels like somebody who tiptoes around somebody else, or somebody who is fed up where they are and just want to make a move because they're not expressing themselves. It feels like somebody that's stuck in a situation that isn't quite them. And I think we were talking about this type of feeling in the newsletter. Does anybody read my newsletter out there? In the newsletter, I was talking about, it doesn't make sense. My sisters were like, what on earth have you written here? But I was trying to say that we all have our own garbage or our own rubbish, you know, good and bad bits all stuffed inside ourselves. And then sometimes we get transits and it kicks it off. And then those transits, depending on basically what we've stuffed down inside ourselves, that all comes out. So you've got to start stuffing down inside yourself, you know, bits that feel good to you, bits where you've acted in your best interest and everybody else's best interest. So when the transits pass, basically you're kicking out stuff that is, you know, you've got a reasonable chance of catching up in life, or you're not going to slap yourself in the face. Does that make any more sense? This feeling here is almost a case of, if you don't do something, or if you don't actually express yourself in some way, it's going to come back and slap you in your face. What did I put in the newsletter? Some like kippers against the wall. Yeah, the reason I put that is basically, I don't know if you want to know this, but it reminded me of a day where my mum exploded on my dad and his dinner ended up against the wall, and it was like pent up emotions. This is what this feels like, is what I'm trying to say. But your advice here, the justice at the end, I was going to put more cards on this, and to be honest I don't think I do. The justice card here makes me think of doing it in a very diplomatic way, taking the other person's personality, however different from your own, into account when you do actually stand your ground or say your piece, or but it's something you need to do for yourself. Quite a strong feeling here. There's two feelings. It is almost like a contentious feeling of you having to stick up for yourself, but there's also a feeling here of you perhaps getting carried down a track which isn't your road. You know, there's more to you, as if you've dumbed yourself down and put yourself into a box, and there's a lot more going on below the surface that needs to be expressed. This has got like a really nice feeling about it. And with the mask cards here, it's like you start becoming more of yourself. You know, you could be in a job where maybe part of it you're not expressing yourself. There may be some of the aspects you could bring into it, or there could be, I'm thinking jobs, and I don't know why. It could be anything, this one, because there aren't like pentacle cards or anything, or heart cards really, maybe the moon a little bit, but it's your inner world not actually getting the chance to be, just to be. And I don't know whether it's going to be, because it's just your week ahead, it's going to be something grandiose. It could be just making little, big, sorry, I can't say little. It may be little on the outside world, but on the inside world to you, I think there may be something big. It's like a big step to do something. This feeling here, last week somebody in work asked me what I do, because they keep asking me to do more hours. I said, actually no, I can't really do any more hours at the moment. I never say that. And only, yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. And somebody in work said, what do you do? You know, what are you doing? I said, I do astrology charts and we do tarot cards. And I never say it to anybody, because you normally get a blank face, don't you? This has got this type of feeling where it may be time to say what you do, or to do what you say. One or t'other, I suppose. But there is here that the Justice card at the end has a really nice feeling about the way that you do it is almost like a lesson to take into other people's differences into account, which is nice. And I think, and I was thinking this morning when I went for my run, that the most beautiful thing about astrology is that it gives you tolerance for others, because you know what, you can see yourself, you get to know yourself, and then you get to express yourself a little bit easier, because, you know, when you're kids, we get pushed back, don't we? Don't do this, don't do that. And then as you grow old, you think, well, actually, that is me. I don't know what else to do. I can temper it a little bit, not to be too annoying. But this is a feeling here of you just being yourself, but taking everybody else's differences into account as well. Nice. Let me put some more on here. This again could have two feelings, maybe more than two feelings. You've got the Two of Wands here, and you've got the Prince of Cups. It could be something, as I just said, something that you hold quite dear to yourself, or something that you don't like to express because somebody might laugh at you, or somebody you're attracted to. But the Two of Wands makes me think there's been a lot of thinking time. You've been doing a lot of perusing of this subject. This isn't like somebody that storms into work, or this isn't like somebody who declares undying love to somebody that they're not sure about. This has got a feeling of you just revealing yourself, who you want to be, in a very gentle and very strong way. It's like sorting yourself out before you actually make the movement. It's like coming from an inner, it is the inner strength. It's like coming from an inner place that feels really stable in yourself, and that regardless of whatever the consequences, you're just glad that you actually said it. It's like you're watching. It's like you're watching and trying to understand. And there's like a Libra feeling. Oh, there is a Libra feeling. There's like a Libra feeling here of, Libras tend to watch, and they get this sort of reputation of being people pleasers, because they're probably, being air as well, they're probably quite good at watching and trying to understand. But there's a feeling here of it's time to not sit on the fence. There's a feeling here of it's time to start being yourself. Okay, pile number one. I'm going to finish there. Good luck this week. Bye. watching in the last spread. This one's got a very similar feeling to it. This one's got a different resolution though. This has got, the last sort of spread was talking about actually making things clearer. This has got something about not actually revealing too much. It feels as if somebody's watching or waiting, or it's like, it could be waiting for anything. It could be waiting like for a phone call, or waiting for somebody to get in touch, or waiting for a job interview, or waiting for some movement in some way. But you're almost like, it feels a bit like bated breath, as in trying to understand it, trying to get your head around it. And the problem is possibly not thinking enough with your heart too much. Can you think with your heart? You're gonna have to try that one. It's like trying to be too calculated, trying to be too cool with a decision, or trying to be too cool with whatever situation you're looking at. And it's sort of saying this is more fluid, the situation is more fluid, it's not quite as clear cut as you think. It could almost be like the Seven of Swords feeling this one. It's like a creative approach. You almost expect to see the Seven of Swords in this. It's like something's on your mind, something that you're wondering how to step forward into, or something that you're wondering how to act next. It feels quite cool and calculated on your part, as if you really want to understand. You're trying to get your head around something. And the problem is you're being too cool, too calculated. This makes me think that I'm going to change. I'm not saying this is your scenario, but I'm trying to give different scenarios. It's like aiming too high and losing perspective in some way. I once knew a headmaster who, really nice guy, absolutely lovely guy. And we were just chatting, and I said, you know, are you happy? Because we talk about teaching and things like that. He said, are you happy? I said, are you happy being a headmaster now? And he said, no, I'd rather still be a teacher. It's like you get caught into that, this has got to be the next thing, this has got to be the next thing, without asking yourself, what do you actually want next? It's like following protocol here, and then your resolution or how to get through this is to actually think with your heart and your imagination. It does feel like take a different tack. To me, it feels like the Seven of Swords. It's like, don't lose your perspective. You know, it's still there, it's still a practical situation, but look at it from a different perspective. It's like, look at it from a softer, more creative viewpoint. You know, what's going to make you happy rather than what's going to pay the bills, that type of thing. This isn't unbalanced in any way. This is a case of just adding bits on or layering a decision, I think. It's not, there's nothing drastic, there's no fool card or anything. It's just looking at what I would guess here, mental perspectives, waiting, a creative approach, still moving slowly towards what you want. It's like still practical steps. That's the advice, is practicality. It's like small steps, practicality, but not using your mind so much. It's like doing things with a different, still doing it, but with a different viewpoint or a different way to get to your end result. These cards here these do feel calculated, not in a bad way. I'm not saying like calculated is bad. It feels like you're just doing too much in your head. So I don't know if there's something on your mind this week that it's almost like let go, let flow. I made that up. Still pushing forward, but just let it go. It's like relax and laugh. And it could also be putting a more creative flair onto your work, or more creative flair into something that you do during the week. Is there something you haven't thought about? It's like give it a little bit of oomph. But it's like a Neptune-y, watery feel about this. Like give a little bit of oomph, but it doesn't have to be dramatic. It's just like slip something in. It could even be connect a bit more here with water. You connect a bit more with your... It feels like work. I don't know why it feels like work. I think it's because these two cards, you know, there's nothing really lovey-dovey in here. There's less relation. It could be relationships. It could be relationships here. It could be a relationship where you've cut. It could be a relationship, just a different scenario here, where you've actually cut off from somebody and you've just been quiet, pick the phone up once a month, you know, check in. And then this is almost saying like, don't forget the connection here. I once went to a clairvoyant, and I think I must have been probably about 10 years ago. And my dad was always I always talk about my family a lot. I don't know why, because it's probably the closest to me. But he was very fiery man, and he was very working class, and he was always out there, you know, playing sport and this. No, never really connected that much with the kids. And then I went to a clairvoyant once. She said, your dad's softer than he actually appears, and it took me a while. This was probably about 20 years ago, actually, to think he actually is. And I was just sort of trying to connect a bit more with him then, rather than just, you know, the usual sort of phone call once a month. Could be that, could be that. But just to sum this up, pile number 2, there's a feeling here with the 7 of Pentacles here where you're watching, waiting, trying to organise in your head where to go next, you know, what action to take, what to say. There's also a feeling here that the problem is that you're probably being too calculated, too cool, too mental with your approach. And the way to move through this is to keep moving, but to give it a softer feel, or to give it a softer approach, more creative approach, a more gentle attitude, and a more fluid way of moving. I'm still plodding and pushing forward, but it's like, take it easy a little bit. You know, if you get knocked back, if something doesn't work, find a different way. It's like finding a different way to solve a problem. And it's got to be a more, what I guess is a imaginative, warmer way of approaching the problem. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me just have a little look. It feels like you want to start something different. It feels like it's very, very, you're looking at possibly starting something different, a new start in your life. And I don't know what it is. It could be anything here. But the way that you're looking at it is very cool. It's like, will it pay the bills? You know, will this happen? Will that happen? And then your answer here is possibly look at what you will probably enjoy the most, what will make you feel most nurtured, most excited. You know, oftentimes in life we're like, forget excitement, forget love, forget this, forget that, forget creativity. It's like, we're very much stuck in the mundane, and our parents do that to protect us because it's hard. But it doesn't always fulfill us if you follow this sort of method to the T. It's got to have a bit of everything. It's like awareness, but you've got to bring out your spirit, I suppose, in some way. The Knight of Pentacles here is saying keep pushing, but keep, what I would say, it's like an inner, it's like keep your spirit alive with where you're going, and make the move. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there, pile number 2. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Oh my gosh, this is like too much love. Can you have too much love? The Lovers and the 10 of Cups here. This is like, this has to be relationship based. It feels like you've fallen for somebody. It feels like a crush. It feels like somebody who lights your fire. It just feels like somebody who makes you feel good. But the problem probably is with the 10 of Cups here that they probably make you feel too good. These two cards here feel slightly ungrounded. It feels like my idea of a great day. It feels like, when your feet don't touch the ground and you've met somebody and all you can do is think about them and they've given you that little wink. It's that, that type of thing. Oh my gosh. And you start going into fantasy islands and it feels fantastic. Which is fantastic. The Wheel of Fortune here for your resolution. I want to tell you something really sensible, but I can't. It's like, carry on with that feeling, to be honest. The Wheel of Fortune, very much, Jupiter would grab and run and still keep going with these feelings until they push them right to the end. Jupiter was very good for pushing situations right to the end. Sagittarius, always the last to leave the party. There's no such thing as too much fun. And these two cards here speak of too much fun. I wonder here, because this is the problem card as well, the 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups. How could 10 of Cups be a problem, hey? I can't really, and I would try really hard to find a very sensible advice here, because I can't really see 10 of Cups as a problem. too much emotion, too much love. And I suppose if your advice card is the shaman, it's like understand the process to me. It feels like understand the process, enjoy it while it's there. These are lovely cards. The Lovers, Ten of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune. You know, this feels like a fantastic week. It feels like something, or some relationship, or some phone call, or somebody catches your eye and makes you feel good. And it's a case of enjoy it. The Wheel of Fortune, it just reminds me of situations in my life. Me and my sisters, we used to have bloat your goat nights where we try and remember something that somebody had said to us. This was when we were young, nice to us, or said that we were attractive once in 1984 or something like that, and then we'd bring it up again and we're like, yeah, bloat your goat. This has got this feeling about it, but it's the shaman is getting onto perspective and trying to think, you know, these situations are there probably for a reason. Everybody needs to feel good. The better we feel about ourselves, the more we've got to give back. And this is a feeling of somebody who does that. There could even be here as well, the Lovers card here, a decision. Like somebody you know already, or somebody around you who, you know, you've got your eye on, or you're having a relationship with, and then something's revealed that makes you feel good. And you may be wondering here, because all these cards are quite nice, whether that is... Is it safe to sort of accept it? And this feeling here is like, accept it. Accept it for what it is. If you're going to have to trudge through all the crud times in life, you know, you're supposed to be enjoying the good times as well without questioning them too much. And as long as you can pick yourself back up, you've got to enjoy the good times too. It's not, we're not here to, I don't think we're here to, I was going to say self-flagellation again. I don't think that's why we're here. It's not. But this card here is your mummy and daddy telling off card, which isn't a telling off card at all. It's like, no, this is part of the process. You know, you've probably done something absolutely beautiful recently, past lives, 10 years ago, who knows, but you just enjoy the moment because you deserve it. Best pile number 3. Let me just put a few out just to see if I can get a little bit more out of this. It feels like you've probably been putting a lot of effort into a situation. I'm thinking again, it could be a decision, but to me it's something emotional. Even if it's not a relationship, it does feel like some connection here where you've been putting all the effort in and you felt like, God, are they ever going to call? Or is this going to happen? Or is that going to happen? And then something happens where you're actually almost, the door opens a little bit. The door opens and you feel good and you're wondering, oh my God, is this it? Is it going to last? Is it just me? Should I get carried away? And this is saying, yeah, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it for what it is. Because you're meant to be feeling good next week. So this is a ticket to be obnoxious all week. So really enjoy it. So when something good happens, you know, carry it on and blow it up and enjoy the week. But know that that is just part of the process. You know, who knows whether 2 weeks down the track something's going to be harder. So just enjoy this and roll with it and run with it as long as you can. That's what I say. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.